Greetings, Dante, and welcome back to the 10th circle of hell. Pedantry. That's right, everybody. Welcome back once again to Stationeers for yet more nonsense. That's right, absolute garbage, silliness, and buffoonery. That's what we're up to today. I hope you're looking forward to it. Now, I've done a little bit of stuff off camera, so I'll go show you what we've been up to. But for the most part, we are where we left off. If my headphones die in the middle of this recording, please note that it is because my kitten has decided that chewing the cables is a lot more fun than not doing so. And so she's just gnawing through the little power cable for my wireless headphones. So they got a limited lifespan right now. I'm going to go find a replacement. But other than that, it's all moving along as before here. Let's just have a little snack. Let's put on our suit and let's get moving. Now, why is this the circle of pedantry, the 10th circle of hell? Well, because I've got a lot of comments telling me to optimize the cooling in this room. I've had comments telling me to optimize the cooling of the fridge, the cooling of the turning off and on of the lights. Did you not hear the instructions? Optimization will be met with death. Okay, as long as we're clear, the firing squad can decock their rifles because I'm gonna give them the order soon. I'm telling you, I'm gonna pull the whole plug on this whole goddamn operation. Now, the plan for this episode was to do a big rewiring of the base, so like a complete overhaul, so that it would all be much easier to follow. But let's be completely honest with both ourselves and God, and admit that there is absolutely no way whatsoever that any of us have any idea where half these cables run. I don't know where they move, and I play this game. There is no way you know where all the cables are either. So we are not going to bother with such an endeavor. Instead, I have a much, much worse idea in mind. What we're going to do is jerry-rig it and just kind of limp along. As we've been doing for ages now. Now, in order to do that, we are going to need some fuses and some transformers. So I need to make some cable fuses. I don't think I have any made yet. No. And those are mostly going to act as a just a bit of a safety feature, right? So like if the wires cook out, they cook out where I can see them. So we don't accidentally lose one inside a frame or something, which can happen and can be a real pain to fix if it does. I think I made some more iron. Yes, I did. There it is. Okay, lovely. Let's go ahead and get a couple of cable fuses. And then we're also going to want some large transformers. Because what we're going to do here... transformer, robots in disguise. Perfect. What we're going to do here is, at least as far as I hope, we're going to be able to split the incoming power and set the sort of wattage to be like 40, right? So it never overloads. Oh, what did I grab? That's not what I needed. I needed this. There we go. All right, so 2 large transformers will allow us to do that. What they can do is step down the power from like, you know, whatever the line maximum is to 50. I think that's their own maximum. So 2 of those in parallel will give us 100 on that line. And then maybe we want a third one to combine the Stirling engine outputs, or a second pair. Yeah, because let's do some quick maths here, right? The solar panels produce 440 at peak. And I think it's 400 or 440. You know what? Let's just say 450. Round it up. We're going to multiply that by 24. That's their maximum possible output, which is 10 megawatts. Each wind turbine can do 20 during a storm, and I have 6 of them, giving me 120 megawatts. Meaning that if we are going to rely on the wind turbines, and I think we should, the simplest fix is probably just to pick one of them up. And then put down a pair of transformers to control their output power. I think we take a small power production hit on average, so that we like guarantee get the amount we want, or we put down 2 transformers along the line. Oh, hold on! I just had another idea, another Jimmy Neutron blame blast. Yeah, blame blast.
Give me your lunch.
Wait, this needs to go in my backpack. There we go. I should really make the better jetpack, shouldn't I, at this point? We've been flying slow for too long. Okay, so what we could do, there's kind of like 3 ways we can solve this. The first is just to produce less power. That's the simplest solution, and it's not really what I want to go for. We need the power. The second is to run both lines, as is, all the way down to a transformer. But unfortunately, this will still kill this line because there are too many wind turbines on one connection. So what we need to do is limit the amount that can be produced during a storm. And I think the way we're going to do that is to cut this right here, right? And then put these 1, 2, 3, 4 turbines on their own transformer. So in a storm, we'll lose 30 megawatts of production. Or if we just, hold on, if they're on their own line, it doesn't matter. Yeah. They can just produce 80 megawatts during a storm. And then these 2 are going to join the solar panels behind a transformer so that they only produce 50. Although if we bisect the lines, we don't need the transformers. We can do the full 100. We just got to separate the inputs to the batteries. Yeah, okay, hold on. This works for me. Never mind. Everything I've done up till now was pointless, and I'm a silly man. A silly man who needs to build some more foundation to make this work. Or maybe not. Maybe we can get away with it. Let's split it here. Okay, so we got you connected up. I need to get that linked up again soon. And I do need to split you into 2 separate lines coming in. So we got 1 line coming in down here. That'll connect to these 3 batteries. And then we got another line to connect to these 3 batteries. I think this is the simple, stupidest solution. So yeah, we'll bring that in like here. And I'm just going to spray paint this orange to make this easier to follow. What's going on? We'll put you here. Just for like absolute clarity, it is a good problem to have so much power you need to split your production lines, by the way. Like this is not a failing. This is kind of just like we overshot it and we didn't build out the infrastructure to keep up. Now, this is eventually going to become a greenhouse. Or is it? No. I have other plans for that actually, which we will show off in a second. Let's just run this over then. I don't want to touch that greenhouse. I'd rather leave it completely alone, just simply because it works and it's like guaranteed. It's like guaranteed oxygen every day. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Am I gonna have enough wire here? Yes. Just. Okay, look at that. We actually don't have enough because we need to connect it up to the batteries. We're not getting any power from this right now. But what that does mean is now during a storm, this will produce 55 watts of power, which is much less, which is really good. Okay, just giving that a little spray paint so that we can see what's what. I really need to get the network painter mod working again. Okay, so that's going to snake its way up there. One fix I can see to get some cable back right away. This is just a small optimization. Maybe we should just stick to like small optimizations for the start. Because we do not have the time, resources, or ability, like cognitively, to actually fix this cable network. Okay, look at that. There you go. And give me this. And let's go ahead and connect this all up. Speaking of pedantry, people have been begging me to change this airlock. Why? It works. It works pretty well, actually. It's constantly... It has not once failed us. The jetpack's still on. No! The door! The door! Hold on. If only someone... If only hundreds of people could have seen this coming. I would rather not, to be honest. There is a benefit now to switching over to these kinds of airlocks, which is that you can now push these buttons through the windows, which is... What am I doing in here? I don't know what I'm doing in here, which is kind of amazing, but it's also not something I'm particularly stressed about. It does now also mean that these batteries are now only being charged by the wind turbines, but I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to cut this cable and this cable. And you are going to become like this. Yes. And you are going to become like this. Can I just do that to repaint it? I can. Ooh, big tech. Okay, we need you to go up. I think I'm still going to need to get some more cable here. So basically, these are going to be our solar batteries. Those are going to be our wind batteries. The output will still go to our base. which is what really matters. So all we're splitting, we're still collecting all the power. We're just splitting up when exactly so where it is stored, which I think is totally sensible. Like it's an easy fix to a rather like infrastructural problem that we would have to kind of rebuild the base to solve. We'd have to fundamentally change how and where we produce and store power, and this just gets around having to do that, right? So now we've just split the amount of potential power so that the cables won't overload. So that was the issue. Last episode I was quite flummoxed, I was quite bamboozled, I wasn't sure exactly how it was going down as to why each thing was popping, but now we know. Now, speaking of, I would also like to put down a 100 kilowatt fuse on each of these wires. And I want them right there so that if they cook off, we can see why. And I will actually make another fuse and put it on that battery. And that just means that if the line fails, for whatever reason, it fails there. So it's super easy to see that something's gone wrong. That fuse will pop, it'll make a very audible pop. And the wire behind it will burn out. So let's put the other fuse right here, and we'll put that also at 100 kilowatts. And the idea is just if we overload these lines, we got a really easy place we can find and fix them from. Okay, checkpoint. Let's go actually and have a look at our list, because I know what I want to do next, but I want to know what we were supposed to still be doing. So this has been a bit of a long time coming, hasn't it? Give me you. We have actually built the pool. That's done. There we go. We have added batteries. We have automated the man cave, and we have increased cooling capacity by sorting out the nightgas line. So I'd say that for the most part, we're done. Hell yeah. Alright, speaking of nerd stuff, let me take you down to show you what I was doing on my free time this weekend, and it's this space over here. Now this used to look out onto lava, as we saw in previous episode. We've still got our lava view down in the pool, so I'm not too worried, but this now will become a greenhouse. That's the plan. I was going to put it up top, but it just didn't quite make sense to me because, I mean, up top is hard to build on, and down here has already been excavated. So let's go ahead and use it. I'm going to switch through. We basically just got this double airlock. This one's just been painted green just for ease of visibility. But I do want to show you what we've got going on down here. At least I would love to show you what we've got going on down here if I can get through. Thank you. So yeah, we need to vacuum this space out. It is still very, 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 very hot. As you can see, it's 447. And I've put on some basic plumbing. So this will let CO2 into the room. And we will have another filter, probably a big vent over here, pulling in gas to filter out the O2 in the room. Or maybe we'll just actually pull it straight from this line. We could, right? We could just run a filter loop, stripping O2 out of the gaseous space. Now, I put it too high up. As in 2 blocks high. I don't know if the grow lights will work at this distance. I hope they will. I assume they will, but we will find out. We need to do some setup with that today. I've got a ton of these hydroponic bays we can work with, and a bunch of pipe we need to run to collect our CO2. We also need to have some insulated pipe we need to run to do that as well. We'll also need to bring battery power in here, and. Right now, none of this is hooked up. It's just laid out. Now, there is one mystery to solve, which is this. I don't know what this vent is. This vent was here when I got here. So let's go ahead and crack this open. Where the heck is this? Huh? Oh, this is the vent for the water. Right? Yeah. This is the exhaust for the water. Is it? I don't know. Are you anything? Hold on, let's cut that off. Of course, I am going to have to vacuum out the base again. You're a nothing burger. You go nowhere. You see what I mean when I said no one around here, not even me, knows what's going on anymore? This is what I meant. Okay, so we can seal that in, indeed. And I would still like to drill out all of that muck in there. Just to reduce the amount of sealing garbage we've got to deal with. Okay. Okay. Cool. I probably should... I mean, since I've already vented the base, we should probably just commit here and muck out all of these spaces. Okay, let me do that quickly. Okay, dope. That's all been vacuumed out, which now means the base needs to be as well, but c'est la vie. In fact, since this is now a sealed space, and we don't need to worry about this aircon too much, why don't I just crack these windows so that we can vacuum this all out? Crowbar. We got double windows here, and that's mostly just for the ability to paint the inside green. Okay, so let's use this opportunity to fly up, since we've already got pollutants in here, and we're going to run this bad boy for the 15,000th time. And we are indeed charging better over here. So these batteries will discharge more. Those are basically like our storm batteries. Those are our solar and wind batteries. That's kind of how you can think of how this is going to work from now on. Now we've got all these seeds we want to use down there, which will be super duper handy once we get it working. And I might as well take this opportunity to go have a quick refill. And then we got to get to do some wiring, I guess.
Hydration critical.
That's what I'm here for. By the way, if you're wondering, I managed to get this thing to stop flicking on and off by just changing the, where was it? There we go. Edit. By just changing the temperature it looks for. I think we had it at 120, which means it was always kind of like getting close and then drifting up. Now it just goes to 100, and then it chills there. There you go, which turns out is more than enough. It doesn't meaningfully impact the amount of time that the spoilage is reduced by. So, you know, why not? Just go with it. You need this. And you need this. Okay, now, reasonably, we should probably move our water setup. What's your problem? Flashing an error at line 29? Well, that'll do it. We should probably deal with that. How much water did I lose? I wonder. I got 6 liters in here. Let's just let it out. Yeah, this isn't perfect because it does end up producing pretty hot water. It's also something we can kind of deal with. Let's pick that up. And then I need ya. I need ya and ya. And ya and ya. So what we need then to deal with that issue. So what happened is there was too much water in this line. It overpressurized and popped. What we need is a condensation valve on this line. It kind of snakes its way over to this connection point. I can do that. If it's so high pressure, or if the water is here we go, or if the water is leaking out anyway, we might as well just get it connected and get some of it out of there, I guess. So this system does reliably produce water. The problem is it produces water at like 50 Celsius. Now there are many different ways we could cool that down. So I don't know which is the best for us right now. Okay, I need a condensation valve. Oh, you're liquid valves. I don't want liquid valves. I need a condensation valve. Perfect. And a spray bottle. Badum. Okay, so that's a bit of a frustration that blew up. I don't know how much water we lost. Probably a couple liters at least. But hey, I mean, that's one way to find out. Okay, so we just leave that open. And then basically, if water vapor condenses in this pipe, if it gets cold enough to do so, because remember, this comes out as steam, let it through, and we'll just deal with the temperature further down the line. I guess we'll just have to have another cooling setup for the water. At least that way, we won't lose any more liquids. We did produce 7 liters, though, which is pretty sick. So you've got 11 liters of water in there, but you're hot. And it's not exchanging heat because this is a gas-to-gas exchanger. Ha. Ha-ha. It's the pressure. The pressure's too high. So we need to adjust the pressure that this thing runs at. And I think we lost our cable analyzer on there as well. Okay. We got a bit of a fix going on here. So I need another gas analyzer. Immediate flashback to Tarkov. Those who know. Those who don't know, you don't want to know. Pipe analyzer, gold and electrum. What the hell is that noise? Is that Discord? I hope not. Okay, this thing's complaining about an error at line 29. Let's investigate what that error might be. It's the water reader. So the water reader needs to fit to D1. Okay, cool. We can do that. I'll rename it. And then, separately, we also don't want to let stuff through unless the output pressure is at a certain limit, right? So, yeah, we definitely don't want to be putting 10 megapascals of water through there. Let's take this down to like 25. Let's keep it super low. Okay, it's going to flash an error because we need to set this state. And I do need to name this. Water reader. Okay, great. Turn that on. Alright, so we let out some of the liquid, which is being cooled. But unfortunately, we do also have a bunch of other crap in this line now, which is not great. It all leaked in. Is that the end of the world? Not really. It's just that pollutant might liquefy. Yeah, hold on. I think we need to shut this whole system down for a second. And I think we need to vacuum out this line. So that's just steam still, which is good. I need to vacuum out this line and this line. Okay, which is the same line. So active vent very quickly. I just want to put it right here. We're literally just going to pump out all this hot gas and steam. Because I don't want that pollutant liquefying going into my water tanks. We'll never be able to get it out. Anybody else following along at home? Because I'm a little lost. That's pushing pressure in. I want to pull pressure out. Okay. Okay, so the room's got a tiny little bit of water in it. But we have successfully cleaned out this pipe. Yes? Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. And that thing's whole purpose is going to be to strip water out, should we ever need it. All right, great stuff. Great stuff. I am going to just temporarily disconnect it so that I don't accidentally program it on or something. Alrighty, cool. So that means we can then switch on our machines sequentially. And that should be running the mixers, which they are. By the way, people did tell me that this is based on the temperature difference. That's why we're seeing a weird mix going on. Thank you for explaining it. I'm not too worried. We've still got the roughly O2 for mix that we want anyway. That's the conservable resource. It's working out. I'm not too worried. We don't have to fix it. We've tuned it in. Okay, so you've got all the random exhaust gases as we'd expect to see. Nice. All right, so you are pumping out water. Okay, so you should only be putting water through when the pressure is fairly low. This does not appear to be the case. Pressure is indeed rising. Okay, have I misunderstood my own code? It's extremely likely. Okay, so right now, if the temperature is below 150 and the pressure is below 50 kilopascals, it will push the information. It'll turn the filter on. Okay, what's your issue? So you got an issue at line 13. It's probably the connection to this line, if I had to guess. Oh, it's getting a little cramped in here. At line 13, we read from the water reader. Yeah, okay, cool. So we just got to set that up. Okay, so that should just get back to work. And I think it was running anyway. This is more just controls when this valve opens. You're at 16C. Hell yeah. Maybe we should switch this up a little bit so that it only lets it through once it's at 30. Because right now it's set to 50. And I think it's just a bit too low. What in God's name is that noise? Let's go down to like 30. There we go. Because that's an acceptable temperature. And then the air conditioner can take it the rest of the way while it cools the steam. Okay, cool. So then this thing's only doing the last 5 degrees, not the last 25 degrees, right? So there we go. So this is going to stay in the pipe for a little bit longer, basically. Yeah, so the temperature's less than 30 right now, so it should just stay open. And then every now and then you'll just pulse some hot gas in. But you see now we've got 75 kilopascals at 150. Let's take a quick look at water. So what's happened there is now it's not working because it stopped condensing. So at Celsius, at 75 kilopascals, water will condense at, let's see, Water will condense at 98C. We need it to condense at 150 or above it. So we actually need like 250 kilopascals. Which is a little scary because that's what blew it up last time. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Can you give me... Let's just set this to like 225. I was all kinds of wrong. Oh wait, hold on. That's the wrong import. I need you to go to like 225 output pressure. Yeah, let's go 250. We got that overflow valve now, so maybe that condensation valve. So maybe it'll work without blowing up. Let's find out. Worst case scenario, we lose a bit of water. I mean, that is the worst case scenario. Okay, she's running, which means we should get more stuff coming in here. Or so you'd think. So you'd think. Oh, I know what the problem is. Output temp is got to be let's make it 155. Okay, now it's going to pump. There we go. Now it's pumping in there. All right, cool. Okay, and each time it cools down, it's going to just let a little bit more in. Yep. Okay, now it's working. And that'll just build up pressure until it starts staying liquid. And then that'll let it through to the next phase. Okay, and you are at 150. And at what point do we vacuum you out? I don't remember. At 21 megapascals? That's hot. That's real hot. We will eventually flush the whole thing. I'm not worried about it. The night gas comes in, cools it down a little bit. In the daytime, we add some temperature. And then, yeah, with that amount of thermal capacity, it does eventually clear it out. I'm going to go find out what the frick is making that noise. I'll be right back. Couldn't find it. Just closed every application that was not OBS and or Stationeers and or Steam. So if it still makes the noise now, either I've got some cryptoware running in the background or, well, there's other larger problems afoot. Okay, enough milling about. That was a little bit of a side quest, but we have resolved the issue. We can now begin to resolve the next issue, which is plumbing all this in to our greenhouse. So, which line do we want to connect to? This line has 5 liters in it. That seems a bit of a problem to a guy like me. Yeah, which line do we want to... Let's go outside and have a look. I need to figure out which line we want to have as our main water store. There's 18 liters in this one. There are... And there's this guy. This has got... This is the same 18 liters all around. Okay, do you know what the simple fix to this is? Is to just remove that one-way valve right there. And this is all one network. I think that's the simple fix here. That will have done something, presumably. Yeah, so now we've got 28 liters in there, 38 liters in there, 38 liters in there. So, collectively, we're sitting at about 100 liters of water. Not really enough to fill a pool. But certainly enough to grow some plants, to make some oxygen, to burn some volatiles, to make some water, to fill a pool. Hell yeah. Is there any way in from the bottom? I don't think so, right? I'm gonna go like all... I've still only got one airlock on this whole base. This whole base. Still only got the one airlock. I need to connect to my CO2 line. And this is the hot line. We actually want to connect to this line. I know, are you following? Because I'm not. Yeah, this is our 1 megapascal of chilled CO2. Which can honestly just go straight down. Could it fit right there? It totally could. Oh my god, the Kawiki dig. Let's do that then, I guess. So we just bring our CO2 in right there. It's so scuffed. I love it. Okay, well, I hope we don't have to get in there for anything else. What was that whole thing I said about, you know, the base is an incomprehensible mess of pipes and nightmares? I'm beginning to see why. Okay. Hate to use a jetpack in here, but we're going to be doing that a lot more, I have a feeling. So that is this is where my CO2 gas comes in. And we are definitely 120% going to want to put a
Hydration critical.
valve, a one-way valve on that. Like 100%. So we're probably going to put a one-way valve right about there. And then just let it connect up with that line. Okay, so we'll keep that closed for the moment. We don't want to turn that on just yet. Not until such time as we are ready to actually turn this room on. And I think I should be able to just jump and reach that. Yes, I can. Okay, great. So we've now got CO2 plumbed in when we want it. Now we need an O2 scrubber. And it makes sense to me to put that further this way, as that's where our O2 lines are. In fact, I can see our O2 line right over there. We just want to scrub straight up into it. Yeah. Okay, we'll probably put it on the back wall then, so that it connects up to this point. Now, there is an argument to be like, well, we could just connect it to this line and let this scrubber do it. There is an argument. If we put a one-way valve here... but this is a return line for the furnace. No. Let's just do a separate filter. A little bit more power. You know, c'est la vie at this point. Okay, what is under here? Is this... Oh, perfect. It is part of the base. Okay, that couldn't have worked out better. So basically what we want to do now is have another line coming down this wall. And that line's purpose is going to be to connect the O2 filter up, so that we can scrub oxygen out of this room as we produce it. Okay, great. That's going to work well. Super simple. Now we need to connect power. So that's got CO2 linked up to the original tank. We've got oxygen filtration we can do right here. We might need 2 filters for a room this size. We'll see if one keeps up first, though. Now we just need power to connect to all of this. So this is on its own little green network. I'm going to need to grab a transformer and some more heavy cable so we could run some lines over. And we'll just need a small transformer for this. They do act as data isolators now. I'm pretty sure in the past they didn't. They definitely do now. So thank you to everyone who pointed that out. Okay, so if we bring this line along here, and we can go down the same back part here. We could sort of wrap around that hole and go down that wall. And that's how we can bring power into this area. All right, that works for a guy like me. Let's go ahead and get that swapped over. Bit of a circuitous route, but oh well. Again, it happened again. What the hell is that noise, man?
Hunger.
The hell is that noise, man? I'm actually going to get a second transformer here, because why not? And actually, I'm going to get a power controller so that we can back up the grow lights, so the plants don't die. And then I'll need another large battery. And then just straight up, just make me all that cable. Alright, cool. So that will connect the lights up. And then the other one will connect up the all the other stuff in the room. Like the pumps and all those sort of things. This is straight up just for the lights, which will include the grow lights. And we'll have some automation up here as well, I'm sure. Okay, there we go. We can see a little bit more in this room, which is really nice. Now I need to wire up all of this. Okay, and you are going to be set to 4900. There we go. We'll shave 100 watts off just in case. No real reason to do that. Just why not? And we're going to fly up. And I'm going to throw this computer into a dumpster if I can't figure out what is making that wind chime sound. Does anybody else know? In chat, please tell me if you do. Is it Stationeers? Is this Stationeers making that noise? It can't be, right? It can't be. Okay, and I know this is a bit disappointing, but believe it or not, we are actually going to have to put the pause in this episode right there. I know, right in the middle of a project, it feels a bit strange, it feels a bit lackluster, I totally understand it. But this has been quite a long one. We got a little bit sidetracked, but we have also solved a lot of problems. So our power is now differentiated, so there's no more explosions. We've got some redundancies built in with the fuses. We've even got some water protect. We've upgraded our water system, so it's less likely to fail. Plus, I've now learned a lesson that you definitely need a condensation valve at each step, just to make sure that you don't accidentally end up blowing up your pipes. Totally valuable information there. That's probably something I could have puzzled out on my own had I tried. We have started to hook up our greenhouse, and we've laid out the foundations for it. Building that out before this episode took out a chunk of my time for today. So thank you all so much for watching. It has been a ton of fun to be here. Myself, Dante, and Magic will be happy to see you in the next episode, should you choose to appear. I really hope you enjoyed watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. You made it to the end of the video. Congratulations and thank you. That puts you in the top 3% of viewers. Here's another video that YouTube thinks you're going to like, and here is a list of all the patron and channel member names.
If you don't see yours on there, you can find a link down in the description where you can sign up and support this content directly. If your name is on there, you probably already know that, huh? So, what are you still doing here?